Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School, and the Black Wealth Boot Camp. And I had to take a second to address something that I saw in the media recently that involved Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's a really good writer for The Atlantic, and Killer Mike, a rapper who has really been politically active, very intelligent brother who's done an amazing job in terms of really speaking on issues that matter. In fact, Killer Mike and I are in the movie Hidden Colors 4, and from what I see, his work was absolute fire in the film. He's a smart guy. I talked to Mike one time. We talked 2 hours. It was a great conversation. I respect the brother tremendously. I respect Ta-Nehisi for what he's done as well. Now, what the whole controversy is right now is this. It has to do with the presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has emerged as the most progressive white man that black people might ever find in terms of people that seem to almost reasonably have a chance to become president of the United States. As a result, Killer Mike has kind of aligned himself with Sanders. I've seen a lot of pictures of Mike with Sanders. It's kind of a come up for him in a certain way in terms of really establishing him as the intelligent man that he is. He's getting into spaces that a lot of rappers may not get into, and I think it's benefiting him tremendously, and I'm happy for him for that. He deserves that. He's a smart guy. I think it's great. What is interesting is that when reparations were brought up, reparations for black people, for slavery, for the 400 years that white people spent stealing our wealth, intimidating us out of economic opportunity, blocking us from the same prosperity that they were given access to. Remember, Dr. King gave that speech right before he died. This is why Dr. King was murdered by the government. It was proven he was murdered by the government. I want you to make sure you tell your kids he was murdered by the government. Right before he was murdered by the government, and I said that 4 times for a reason, he started talking about reparations. He started talking about economic inequality as the next step in his quest for equality. He realized that civil rights was not enough. So if we want to continue the work of the real Dr. King, we must push for various forms of economic sustainability for the black community. And part of the reparations is part of that equation. Now, are white people ever going to pay reparations? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they never did. But it should never be the case that we stop putting that on the table, that we stop demanding that this be a topic of conversation. Bernie Sanders is a very progressive presidential candidate. When he was asked about reparations, he said no. He said he doesn't believe reparations would get through Congress. So he didn't say he didn't support reparations. He said, I don't think it would get through Congress. And I think that is some would say a pragmatic response, a realistic response, based on the way Congress is right now. Right? It's in a way it reminds me of if you go to 1608 and you say, "Are you going to push for legislation to end slavery?" Somebody might say no, because slavery is, ending slavery is not going to get through Congress, right? So the question is, do you go after the idealistic answer or do you go after the pragmatic answer? Clearly, this is the more practical answer based on the landscape that we're looking at right now. But this is also why it's very dangerous. Very dangerous, in my opinion, for Killer Mike and Ta-Nehisi Coates to align themselves as political operatives for the more dominant white supremacist establishment. You see, both of these individuals, as brilliant as they are, they have benefited tremendously with their alignment with white liberals. If you want to get rich and you're black and you're doing your thing, align yourself with white liberals. That's how you have a best-selling book. You'll be in movies. You'll be on the big TV shows. You'll be in the big magazines. All of this stuff, and I've seen it up close. For a while, people thought that I was that guy, and they realized I wasn't. I'm a guy who believes in supporting the black community, and I see liberals in many cases as paternalistic enemies of progress and strength in the black community. It does not mean, though, that liberals don't have the ability to support causes in the black community. We know that if it weren't for liberal white people, slavery might not have come to an end. Sometimes I've seen liberal whites sometimes fight for certain issues harder than some of my conservative black friends. I've seen some liberal whites show more concern for black people that struggle, black people that get shot, poor black people. I've seen them show more concern than some of my conservative black friends who say, "Oh, them niggas ain't nothing. Those niggas don't matter." I've seen this. So I think that there is a bit of gratitude, if you want to call it that that can be shown to white folks who really try to do the right thing, who've really tried to fight for issues that affect black people, which is part of their broader cause of dealing with issues like inequality, dealing with human rights violations, things like that. And that's a beautiful thing. But here's the problem: black people can never really get ahead if we are always seen as the white man's charity case. The white man and white liberals will always work very, very hard to ensure that they do their part to make sure black people are not devastated, downtrodden, poverty ridden, and dead. Or economically, socially, and spiritually dead. They will help with that. They will always support you if you're trying to avoid, say, staying on welfare, or you're trying to be working class, or you're trying, which is nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that at all. But if all you're doing is asking for like that piece of bread to keep you from starving to death, the white liberal will be your friend. He will always take care of you. But the problem with it is this: that same white liberal who will keep you from starving to death, he will let you ride the bus, but he will never, ever, ever want you to drive the bus. He will always, and here's the thing though, it's his damn bus. And all you're trying to do is be a passenger on the bus. Right now, Killer Mike is a passenger on the Bernie Sanders bus. Ta-Nehisi Coates is a passenger on the bus driven by the Atlantic and these other white liberal organizations that hook him up. They give him awards and things like that. And that's fine. That's fine. But remember, Malcolm X taught us a long time ago that there's no dignity in moving from the back of the bus to the front of the bus. There's only dignity when you own the bus. So, if you have an honest conversation about reparations, black wealth building, black institutional development, black empowerment of economically speaking, black business development, if you're having honest conversations about that, you must rise above, you must outgrow liberalistic paternalism as a condition for your advancement and start learning how to stand on your own two damn feet. So what I would say is this: look, to the extent that I talked to Killer Mike and I like the guy, I would tell him be very, very careful about being Bernie Sanders, black surrogate, because that's kind of what's kind of happening here. And you saw this with Obama. Obama had a lot of black surrogates because Obama and David Axelrod, those guys driving the show. They positioned everything in a certain way. They used black surrogates to get black people to galvanize behind the president, and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's politics. That's how that stuff works. But at some point, or at the very least, maybe right now, we have to have a segment of the community that says, I'm not interested in partnering up with any of these politicians, because these politicians, their first and most consistent commitment is to the white supremacist power structure. That's where their commitment lies. That they're going to pick that. They're going to pick that. That's going to trump you and your black ass every day of the week. They're never ever going to challenge that power structure for the sake of helping black people get what we truly deserve. That's not going to happen, and it shouldn't happen, because that's not their fight really. It's our fight, and we're afraid to take on that fight. And as long as you're scared to fight for what you deserve, then you're never going to deserve what it is you think you deserve to have. You will never earn the right to have whatever freedom, whatever power, whatever it is that you want. You'll never get it if you're afraid to fight for it. If you're afraid to build something on your own and develop that and form the coalitions necessary, pull together the resources necessary, say the things that are necessary to get what you want. If you're always scared, if you're always waiting for someone to save you, then you'll never truly be empowered. That's just not going to ever happen. So, I don't really care what Bernie Sanders says about reparations, to be honest with you. I'm not a guy who looks at the presidential election and looking for my great white hope. I think it's awesome that Bernie Sanders has a lot of socialist policies that are designed to help the poor. I'm so glad that he has a heart for what's going on to black and brown people across America. But I also implore us to remember that we are not here to be Bernie Sanders' charity case. Black folks will cheer harder for a white man who wants to help us than we will for a black man who's standing up for us. And I'm looking for the black men and women who are standing up for us. And that's what matters to me at the end of the day. I don't really, whoever gets into the White House, whether it's Trump or Sanders or Clinton, your life ain't going to change until you change it. Remember, Sanders is still dealing with this racist Congress that ain't gonna do nothing for you. What he's gonna do. Any of these candidates, Hillary, Walton, they're gonna get all your votes because they're gonna go to your church, eat barbecue chicken, and sing a couple hymns and get you all excited, right? Because they know black people have a lot of emotionality as a culture, and if you connect with us emotionally, then we'll give you our vote. And then they're gonna go to Washington and they're gonna keep coming back and they're gonna say, hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm trying my best, but these people won't let me do it. And so the question becomes, what is the ultimate solution? What is the final solution? I think the final solution comes with policies within our community that are based on, first of all, dignity. Dignity meaning the importance of owning things of our own, building things of our own, focusing on our own issues without sort of worrying about whether or not we're getting approval from other people. It's going to come with honest conversations about reparations, knowing that, for example, the white man probably won't give us reparations in our lifetime. There's a good chance of that. But the condition for me to sit next to you at a Martin Luther King dinner and hold your hand and sing "We Shall Overcome," the condition for me to sit with you at that dinner and not want to protest or not want to stay home is that you take seriously when I tell you what's been done to my ancestors and that you need to fix this thing back here before we move forward. You see, the game is they want you to just put the past behind you and move forward as if it never happened. You can't do that. You can't go rob somebody and take everything they've got and then say, okay, all right, I promise I won't rob you anymore. Let's just hold hands and let's move forward. Let's just move forward. That's just the past. The past is not the past if you got my money in your pocket. And that's the thing. White Americans have black people's money in their pocket. That when Dr. King gave that last speech about the poor people's campaign, and he talked about all of the wealth that was given to whites in terms of subsidies and free farmland and low interest loans and land grant colleges and all of that, that land did not disappear. That wealth did not go away. That wealth and that land is, you can do a trace right now and find out where that stuff is. So if the same people that are holding stuff that should have belonged to you are telling you that no, we're not going to give you any of this, then fine. You keep what you got. I'm going to go rebuild, but don't come up here showing up acting like you my friend, because I know that you're not. And so in that regard, Bernie Sanders is unfortunately, because of his commitment to this system, you can't blame him. It's a hard system to stand up against, but because of his commitment to this same white supremacist system that put him in power as a white man, if Bernie Sanders were black, he probably wouldn't be in the position that he's in. Because of his commitment to this system, he's inherently a part of the system. He is inherently supporting white supremacy in his own way. It doesn't mean that he's as racist as the other bigots that are running this country, but he's right there in the same system with these same people. And remember, white supremacy and racism are all built on structural mechanisms that perpetuate inequality. So when you support those mechanisms, then you're supporting white supremacy. You are a racist when you support racist systems. It doesn't matter if your heart wants you to do something different. You're judged by what you do. So it doesn't matter if Bernie Sanders knows that it's pragmatic to not fight for reparations, and that's why he's going to hold back because this and this. Okay, I believe you. I really do. But I'm going to judge you by what you do. Because sometimes doing the right thing means not just doing the practical thing. It means doing the right thing even if there's a consequence for it. It's easy to do the right thing when the system lets you do it. A real man does the right thing when the system stands up against him, when the system stops him from doing that. So that's all I want to say about that. You want to know who I support in this election? I don't give a damn. I don't care. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Because here's the thing. It's like this. It's like when we used to do, when I was getting my doctorate in finance, and we talked about what makes a stock price move. And there's two factors. There's what they call a systematic factor and the idiosyncratic factor. Idiosyncratic is what's specific to that company. What specific thing happened to that company that caused the price to go up or down? The systematic is what's going on in the whole economy. So if the whole economy goes down, then your stock price has a good chance of going down too, right? But the idiosyncratic is what happens with your company. How much money did you make? How good is your company being run? How organized is your establishment? How hard are you working in order to improve your business? And let me tell you like this. The idiosyncratic, the individual factor is always stronger than the broader systematic factor. And let me bring that analogy full circle so you know what I'm talking about here. Black people, we're like that company. We have individual factors based on how hard we're willing to educate ourselves, how much work we put into developing our own institutions, how smart we are with targeting and managing our money, how vocal we are in terms of supporting our own political needs, how well we raise our children, etc. Those are factors that determine how well we're going to do in the next generation. Those are the idiosyncratic factors. Systematic factors are things like systematic racism, who's in the White House, whether or not white people decide to help us out, whether or not social programs are in place. Those things certainly make a difference. I mean, if you sit there and you don't do anything for yourself, then those systematic factors will dominate your life. Who's in the White House will make a difference. If Trump's in the White House, you're not going to do well. If Hillary's in the White House, you'll do a little bit better. You might get an extra welfare check or two as opposed to Trump, who might take it away. Okay, fine. But the idiosyncratic, the individual factors are what matters. And basically, if black people get our shit together, if we are unified, and if we are fighting, if we are educating ourselves, and we are empowering ourselves, nothing can stop that, not even Donald Trump. We will kick Donald Trump in the ass if we come as a force. If we build ourselves for the next generation, we will win the fight. If Hillary's in office and we don't have our stuff together, we're going to continue to sink down. You saw in the last 8 years we had a black president. A black president. Our lives have not gotten better. And the reason they have not gotten better is because we still sitting around waiting for Jesus. We still sitting around waiting for the superhero. Stop waiting for Superman. Be your own Superman. That's it. So, no disrespect to Killer Mike and Ta-Nehisi Coates. I wish them the very best, but I warn them against this excessive alignment with these white liberal organizations and becoming these political operatives. I know it's beneficial financially, it's beneficial in terms of the size of your platform, but it's not beneficial in your quest to be a free black man. We need more free black men, more free black women. Free black men and free black women are going to save the black community, not paternalistic white liberals because they hate your ass too. That's it. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. Please take care. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.